Hey gang, a little late to the party on this one. I am hopping on a plane in, let's see, just a couple hours now. Well, a little bit more than that, enough time to get to the airport, but new road map's out. Thought that we'd take a look at it. Of course, this one will be a little bit quicker than normal because of said plane thing. Anyways, let's get it after the break. Okay, for those of you who haven't seen this show before, basically what I do is I go over the roadmap roundup, talk about what's happening over in the release view, any changes we're seeing, and then I get into the progress tracker and kind of talk about things that are happening there. Again, this time will be kind of a little bit more truncated than normal. I'm not going to kind of dive into a bunch of different topics, just kind of one topic that I think is kind of more pertinent with SitCon and IAE coming up. You can imagine what that's going to be about. But anyway, quick caveat is I'm just a dude on the internet, just kind of looking at the data. All of you have access to the same data I do. Everything that I do here is just an opinion. So if CIG says something that contradicts what I'm saying, CIG's correct. Believe them. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. So, roadmap roundup. Hello, pop-up window. Notable changes for September 18th, 2024. Release view. The following cards have been moved into the Alpha 324 column, targeting a 324.x release. And this is kind of what I thought they were going to do with 4.0. Probably going to be a wider release to PTU at the end of December, I would think, or right before they go on break. I don't think they're going to release 4.0 to the PU prior to this year ending. So it's going to be a next year release, if I had to guess. But because they had a bunch of things kind of ready to rock for 4.0, I think they're going to move some of those things into 324 to... I don't think they'll have a 324.3. I think it'll be 4.0 after 324.2, but they're definitely signaling that there's going to be a 324.2, and I think that'll probably be the SitCon patch. They might get 4.0 out the door before the end of the year. I kind of think that would be a mistake, because then they go on hiatus for a couple months, and if 4.0 is having issues, which it almost certainly will, with the complexity of what they're putting into that patch, it's going to break a lot. It's going to be a rocky patch. I hope it's not, but I'm almost sure it will be, just based on past history. So if they release that in December and that's all we've got to play with for 2 months, people are going to be pissed off. So hopefully they avoid that. Just release it to the PTU, let people play with it, find all the bugs, and then release something much more stable and clean in the new year. Anyway, yeah, 324.2 is probably going to be the SitCon patch, since we're only like 3 weeks away from SitCon, and then IE is a few weeks after that, or a couple weeks after that. Anyway, acidic caves, implementing the acidic cave archetype, coming both to the pyro system and stand system, adorned with luminous pools of water and dramatic stalactites and stalagmites. These caves provide a captivating setting for exploration, FPS missions, missing person missions, and more. I do hope they tweak the lighting in all of their caves. The sand caves are the most modern caves that we have in the game right now, but there's too much light. As someone who has done caving when I was much younger, the most notable things about caves is that they're pitch black, and initially that was kind of the direction that they went, where there was very little ambient sources of light, and now you walk into them, it's basically like walking into the hallway at a mall or something like that. Everything's so well lit, you don't even need to turn on your headlamp. There's parts of like Lorville that are darker than that. But anyway, rock caves. It's going to be a day for me going off on tangents. Implementing the rock cave archetype, coming to both pyro and stand system, illuminated by bioluminescent mushrooms. Hopefully they don't overdo it. These caves provide a unique atmosphere for exploration, FPS missions, missing person missions, and more. This is the update on the oldest caves we have in the game. Not sand caves, but the old rock caves. MFD rework and new displays. This is cool. Rebuilding ship multifunction displays and building blocks, including new design, functionality, and customization options. And as we saw in today's ISC, it's going to kind of tie directly into engineering as well, which is very neat. This update also includes a select number of updated ship HUDs, giving greater visibility as well as manufacturer-based visual overhaul, which is nice. The following card has been added to the release view: Argo ATLS, or Atlas. Building, balancing, implementing Argo's power suit, the Atlas, into the game. And that's all for this week. Join the discussion on Spectrum. I already kind of talked about the Atlas. That was just kind of a missed opportunity that they could have sold it for less. They know they could have sold it for less. They might have sold more, but they might have made less money. If you want to see a very good talk about it, Montoya has a very good vid on it. And in fact, I'll put a link in the up above parts for you to click on that one, because he just kind of basically says what I would have said when it comes to the price point and stuff like that. Again, if I were running the zoo, I would have tried to bring in new players at a lower cost, but I'm sure they have a plan. Release view. So I got it. Here we go. So again, little orange dots means that there's something new there since the last time. So we're going to look: acidic caves and rock caves. No big surprise there. Ships and vehicles, MFD reworks, and the Atlas. There it is. It is a cool little vehicle. I did get one, just because the utility of it is pretty damn good, and apparently based on the sales, a whole bunch of other people did too. I'm not going to look at 4.0 right now because I don't think it's going to hit quarter 4. I think it'll be in the PTU for quarter 4. I don't think it'll be a wider PU release. I would be surprised. Anything's possible, but I'd be surprised. Let's go ahead and look at the progress tracker, because again, this is going to be a shorter episode because of said plane thing. So maybe I should stop going on tangents. All right, so here we are in the progress tracker. I just thought that I would kind of take a quick look at ships. Again, this is going to be a short one because we're kind of limited time. One thing I wanted to note was up here, we've got the Aegis Saber Firebird and the Aegis Saber Raven Gold. There's no Aegis Raven, or no Aegis Saber Peregrine. So we know that is probably one of those unannounced ships. And if we look down here under Argo, there's no Argo Atlas. So we know that is probably one of those unannounced ships. So looking down this list, we can probably knock out a couple. 27 weeks would be about right for something about the Atlas size, but whatever this is probably isn't done yet, unless they're still going to be tweaking it into next year. I wouldn't think that would be it. It is possible it is one of these things. Like this would be a strong, let's see. Yeah, that's an unannounced vehicle, 8 weeks. That strikes me as about right for something the size of the Atlas. So we can knock that one off the list. Let's see if any of these others. So some of these, like this one is unannounced tech. This one's unannounced content. And these are things that they've worked on, but we haven't seen yet. But you can sort of see a while ago they've worked on things, and you've got smaller vehicles in here. So one of these easily could be like, this one's the Montreal team at 23 weeks. It already has its VFX. Probably a good chance that is the Argo Atlas. There's one at 11 weeks. People are kind of getting the rumor going that there might be a rework of the Dragonfly, which would kind of make sense because you look at the scale of the bikes, the more recent bikes like the Pulse, um, the X1, the bikes are kind of fitting into a smaller matrix where you've got the Dragonfly that's really super long. Like for a vehicle, it's really long, and don't make that dirty, but it's kind of out of scale with the other bikes now. So they might shrink it just a little bit and kind of bring it into modern standards. It is a 2-seater, so it makes sense it's a little bit bigger, but maybe not as big as it is. I think it is longer than a Cyclone, which means there are fewer ships it can fit in. Yeah, so one of these 11 weeks, you see a sprint like that would make sense for something like the Peregrine, but this is still leaving us with, let's see, 2 weeks is the narrative team. Narrative team is just going to be, this is what we want the ship to do. This is what we want it to be. This is kind of our vision for the manufacturer kind of a deal. And then they knock it out. Then they hand it over to the concept artist. Concept artists kind of do a mock-up. Then they hand it over. It hasn't even reached that stage. So whatever this thing is, it's a long ways out. They haven't even created the JPEG to sell it to us yet, at least according to that. But we've got these two, 15 weeks, something small. At this point, I wouldn't be shocked if there's another variant of the Atlas waiting in the wings that we'll get at SitCon. Again, we know there's concept images out there of a salvager version. Wouldn't be shocked if there's a mining version. They might even make the little hand tool. They'll make like an enclosed one and make the hand tool modular. So you can put a salvage gun on it, or a mining gun, or a gun, and then it'll be like a downscaled security version of the Titan, which is the military suit. I could see them doing that, but 15 weeks would be about right for that. But that means we're kind of left with all of these guys for potential SitCon releases. And we're looking at 48 weeks, 44 weeks, 27 weeks, 36 weeks, 48 weeks, 40 weeks. We know since the, some of these are coming in the next year, so we can probably knock out that one. If I had to guess, these two, I don't think would be SitCon releases. They might be IAE, and then they're working on polishing, but next year is more likely. These guys, this 44 weekend in this 41 and this 36, pretty safe bet. There's a couple medium ships out there. The Zeus ST is rumored to be one of them, which would make a lot of sense. I kind of talked about that a little bit, that it kind of looks like that might have been an early concept because they used the same image for the Zeus CL, like the exact same image. They just tweaked it a little bit. But it could be something out there. A big racer actually would kind of make sense. The only big racer that we have in the game right now is the 350R. And endurance races are in the lore. Like the GN use big endurance races as kind of like a rite of passage thing. So they exist in lore. It would make sense that there be more than one ship in the game that could do it. So Zeus ST probably out there somewhere, if I had to guess, if it's a racer. Wouldn't be shocked if they're bringing in more racer variants as kind of like a weird push. It would make sense since I think Atmo Esports has a big presence at this year's SitCon. We have been seeing that Crusader ship that's been sitting out there kind of in the weekly sneak peeks that looks to be about freelancer sized. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of them. But yeah, gonna be an interesting month. So yeah, let me know your best guesses down below, or if you've heard something a little more substantial than what I'm working on. 36 to like 50 weeks tends to be a medium ship or a variant of a larger ship. It could be a smaller ship that's more complicated, or from a manufacturer that they're either tweaking or trying something new. So it would make sense that you'd have that Mirai ship that they showed off during that slide, the one that kind of looks like a Fat Fury. That one is almost certainly one of these ships. And last thing I was going to mention is that it's Pirate Week. I'm kind of sad I'm going to be missing this because it looks like CIG is really putting together a pretty cool event here, and I am not going to be able to participate because, again, plain thing. They've got new ship liveries, which actually do look pretty good. Reduced price on the Avenger Titan starter pack. So if you want to get someone into the game, $60 for the Titan with a pretty cool paint set. Not bad. Ultimate Sea Chest is all the paints. The paints are pretty cool looking this time around. Like they've got one for some unusual ships, although I guess it makes sense. Like I will probably pick up the Scorpius, maybe the Mantis, and the Vulture. I don't have an M50, but the Vulture one, that's pretty cool, and I could see salvaging going hand in hand with piracy, allegedly. But yeah, not so bad. The sales aren't bad. MSR is up for sale again, which is always a good thing. It's a very good ship. Some of the ways of getting around the ship aren't as clean as they could be, but they're gonna fix that one of these days. Probably put a ladder over here and maybe move some rooms around. It was kind of early days with their new ship matrix and layout system, but the ship itself is solid. They just grew it a little bit much to kind of crowbar in those crawl spaces. But yeah, you can get A2 Hercules. Let's see what ships they got here. Of course, the Ares, Avenger, Stalker, Titan, Warlock. Warlock's a decent one if you're into piracy because it's got the EMP. Caterpillar, yeah, not bad. Hey, there's your M50. 100. I'm curious how the M50 is these days. I flew one in the long ago, but it has been a while. Maybe I should rent one and see how it is. They've got a treasure hunt on, which is pretty cool. You're going to follow these clues, which looks like it starts at Orison. And then you go to Hurston. So you're kind of jumping all over the place. Rappel, obviously, is one of the little villages on Hurston, but you're going to get all of these numbers and letters and you're going to punch it into a code on the CIG website and you'll be able to get the thing. Kind of a very cool idea of getting people to go places they probably wouldn't normally go and look at things they wouldn't normally look at, just to kind of get a cool thing, which I think it's just this I think it's just the coin here, this challenge coin, but that's a pretty cool coin. That's a pretty cool gift. That's the sort of thing for these events that I think CIG should do. Like, not something that's game breaking or game changing, like a unique piece of armor that's super powerful or a sword that can cut through anything. You get the idea. Like something that gives that player an in-game mechanical advantage. Something that, like this, or like a cool hat in game or something like that, that, you know, marks as this is something cool you earned, is totally fine with me. For in-game things that you can earn. Very cool. Rep-based things would also be good. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. This is a good event. This is good. And they're gonna have I believe they are doing the Blockade Runner this weekend, which is gonna be a really fun event that we haven't seen yet. And unfortunately, smuggling and running cargo and stuff like that is right up my alley, and I'm gonna miss it. So I'm sure they will run it again, but damn. All right, that's all I got. Catch you next time.